The Vikings and Steelers defenses turned it around against two powerhouse offenses, Chris.
Yeah.
You and I got some midseason awards to hand out.
I know.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
It is.
A lot
it's going to be
fun.
really good.
We, if you missed it, we had a ton of trade deadline news recapped in our last show. We were live Tuesday at 2 p.m., so if you missed any of our reaction to Sauce Gardner, Quinnen Williams, Rashid Shaheed, Jacoby Myers.
Right.
If anything comes down the
Draymond
pipeline,
Jones we hit on a little bit. Roger
got-
McCrary to the
got through it
Rams.
all.
That happened last week, right? Yeah, we hit it all, I think.
All right, so the film review. Week 9,
Right.
Brian Flores clinic in this one, Chris, in a game where I believe the Vikings at one point were 9.5-point underdogs.
Yeah.
This spread was one of the biggest of the week in a week of big spreads. Not only did the Vikings cover the line, but they win the game. And I think the story has to be what Flores' defense did to make Jared Goff uncomfortable.
Definitely. We hit it on a Monday a little bit, right? We talked about it. And the theme we kind of came away with that I thought watching the game was that getting Jared Goff off the spot, right? And making him move just a little bit. Don't need to make him run,
Right.
but just when Jared Goff has to, whoa, and then try to throw it or anything like that, he's lesser than in those scenarios. He's tough as hell. I know that. And Jared Goff, and again, when there's pressure bearing down on him and he can step in and throw it, he'll sit there and take the hit. But these were pressures where it was like he couldn't set up the throw. He had to move first and then kind of recalibrate and then throw. And that was the theme of the football game. There's no doubt about that. All right, so that's one big thing. I think the other thing you look at with Detroit, they're not as creative on the offensive side of the ball as they were with Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson, there was more movements, there was more shifts, there was more diversity in the offensive formations before the play, right? And also, I think there was a little more creativity after the snap too. Again, I'm not saying John Morton's doing a really good job, but I think Ben Johnson's special. I mean, special. So that's where I look at it. I think also, too, another thing that jumps out to me is I think Detroit plays 12 personnel too much. I really do. That is another thing that I looked at throughout the game where I just went, hey, the way they're playing and everything here, this might be a game where, like, if they want to blitz and drop and do certain stuff like this, if you just get 3 speed receivers with one of your running backs who can catch the ball in the backfield and get them out a little bit, I think that would have stressed them out instead of, like, always keeping 2 tight ends in. And I think them feeling comfortable about maybe taking a chance here or something like that because they're going, wait, as long as we don't let Jameson Williams run by us deep. I know Amon-Ra St. Brown's really good, don't get me wrong, but he's not run by us deep 80-yard touchdown guy. Then we feel good that, we can come up with something creative. And Flores is just a master that way. And, he found a lot of cool ways to get into Jared Goff's face. That's what he found on Sunday.
The aggression that he dials up, I mean, they blitzed over 58% of the time in this game, but you had 44% of those were simulated pressures, which is the big point from your notebook.
Yes, right. Yeah, see, so I don't call that, I call it blitz zone change, right? It's just change. It's like, yes, there's a guy blitzing, but there's somebody changing into his spot, right?
So it's not an open area.
It's not an open area. It was a lot of still 4-man rushes, even though we're going to say they're blitzes, right?
Yeah.
Which they are. I mean, two guys blitz, but then 2 guys drop out. One guy blitzes, 1 guy drops out. Whatever it was, but I felt like I would say 2 out of every 3, plays in where they felt like they were going to pass the ball, right? Someone was going to blitz up the middle, right? They couldn't do it every play because, of course, if you do it all the time, they're going to start to go, we got something for you here or there. But them bringing interior pressure with the middle linebackers hitting a gap and then maybe the 2 DNs dropping back was a consistent theme through the day. And what it did throughout the day was, yes, confuse the protection of the Detroit Lions because they want to keep big people on big people. And now, okay, they want their O-line to block the D lineman, right? Well, wait, 2 of the D linemen drop. Now there's 2 guys going down the middle. Okay, the center's going to take one of them, but the other one now is the back that has to take the other guy, right? And that was another problem with the day. Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be tested going forward anytime he's in an obvious passing situation. They kind of exposed him in pass pro. He was pushed back and, physically overwhelmed a few times in the game to where, and again, he's a little bit of a smaller guy.
He's not a big back.
He brings it. Don't get me wrong.
Yes.
It's not like not wanting to. It's just good luck blocking somebody who's 6'1" or 6'2", 235, and they have 8 to 10 yard head start and they're running full speed and you just get to take 1 or 2 steps up and you got to meet them and stop them in the tracks, like, good luck. I guarantee it. Go out there and try it. See how it works out for you.
Send us the videos.
So that, to me, is going to be something that I think we know it's a copycat league, and I think when people see Jahmyr Gibbs in, they're going to go, wait, we can't cover him. Let's try to find a way to blitz him because we think we can overwhelm him, and then we don't have to worry about covering him either. And I think that could work twofold, but that's going to be a thing for Detroit here as we go forward.
Well, let's get right into it because to your point about the pressure up the middle, they kind of set the tone of the day early on.
Exactly right.
This is the first quarter, 12 minutes and 56 seconds, 3rd and 4 on the Minnesota 40. And what do the Vikings do here, Chris? They are going to blitz up the middle and make Jared Goff move, as we have the exact dots and the setup of it behind us. But I think the key here, Chris, is to focus on the A-gaps, right?
It's the A-gaps. And the interior part of the offensive line is a little underwhelming right now for the Detroit Lions, right? And Mahogany is not very good in pass pro. Anything movement-wise, he's really not good.
That was his problem at Boston College.
Exactly right. He can drive you off the ball in the run game, but his feet aren't good. Graham Glasgow is not one of the top-tier centers in the football. Tate Rutledge is doing a pretty good job, but again, he's a rookie too. But here you see the play here, and again, you could see, okay, we got 4 down linemen, Grenard, 97, 61, 43, right? The 2 edge guys, Grenard and Van Ginkel, they drop out. And within that, you get Blake Cashman, and I can't remember 55's name off the top of my head here. I'm going to blank it, but the 2 backers go up the middle. You see here, and it makes Goff, again, move out of the pocket. Nothing great, incomplete pass, but this was the theme of the day. And almost every big, obvious passing situation, they tried to simulate some sort of pressure like this, again, to make Goff. And anybody will tell you the numbers bear this out. If Goff can sit there and pat the ball, he's going to tear you up. If he just has to move a little bit, the numbers drop dramatically, right? I've had defensive coordinators all over football tell me that, and I think that was something that, of course, Brian Flores picked up on and realized that was a flaw of this Detroit Lions offense.
So to clarify, this is the first simulated pressure of the game. This counts as a blitz, but to Chris's point, yes, the Vikings blitzed on 25 of the 43 pass plays, but 44% of them were simulated pressure. So they're not trying to allocate for a lost defender in coverage.
They're not exposing themselves in the back end,
which Goff can
do. They're scary that way.
Right.
And what happened, too, with these blitzes and what they were doing with the blitz zone change and 1 blitz and 1 drop, they couldn't pick it up, and then they stopped actually looking to throw the ball down the field because they were like, wait, they're kind of exposing our pass pro here. We got to figure something out. So then they went into, wait, let's throw some screens. Let's throw the short passing game. And Minnesota's like, please, we love that. All right, fine. And yeah, so they got the best of both worlds. You're pressuring Goff, but you're also keeping 7 people in coverage all the time. And that, if you want to beat Detroit that way, that's good. Also within that, it helped in the run game. It did, because it just created chaos in the interior. And because those guys are a little bit bigger and slow-footed, like we talked about in the interior part of the O-line, they had a hard time kind of adjusting on the fly to some of the chaos being created. So it helped with the run game as well. And then, on top of that, I think at times when you're a quarterback, you might have a run-pass play called in the huddle, right? One more, you check to the pass, right? And you're thinking, yeah, there's the linebackers looking like they're going to blitz. They're going to outnumber us in the run game. Boom, boom, boom. And you check to the pass, and it's like, oh, no, they played too deep, and they blitzed. They rushed 4, but they blitzed 2 up the middle, and I checked to the pass, and oh, no, and now we're kind of screwed that way. So that's where it was really brilliant by Brian Flores.
Is that something, Chris, that when you start to figure out the simulated pressures as the game goes on, can you run away from it? Or is that just so hard to guess?
You can.
Because 3rd and 4, you can run.
Right.
On 3rd. It's risky.
Right. And they do, David Montgomery's run that he fumbles in the early 3rd quarter, they blitz. They're doing that. And they said, wait, if you want to show this, we're just going to keep you all smashed in there and we'll toss it outside.
Exactly.
And now you get that. So, yes, there is some of that. I think the answer when you're getting interior O-line or interior blitzes a lot of the times is let's get out on the edge. Let's get the screen pass game going a little bit, right, and do that. Now, this is one where they went to the screen pass game, but the problem was like, they're not really blitzing. It's still 4-man, and those 2 guys on the defense end that dropped out, and you're throwing a screen to the receiver outside, they're already floating out that way anyway, so they're there to make the tackle. So that didn't work. And, yeah, the run game is certainly an area where you can look at to go, let's get on the edge, run toss cracks, toss sweeps, and do that. But the big thing is, in a really high-functioning offense, okay, right? Let's just say McVay, let's just say Brady and Belichick in their prime, they would never let those blitzes ruin their game plan. Never. And that's where they're going to have to go back to the lab a little bit to go, wait, how can we figure out not to leave Jahmyr Gibbs on one of these guys? How can we figure out when the DNs do drop out that we can still get our own linemen on these blitzing linebackers instead of like we got one lineman on the blitzing linebacker and now we have our pass catching back who we wanted to get the ball in space here. He's blocking, and that's not good for us. So they got to figure out ways to do that. Can they figure out ways to free release everybody? Send out 5. Again, because they're only rushing 4. But, yes, you're going to have to go back to school on how you're going to dictate your pass protection plan against something like this. And that's what they're going to have to figure out. But I know working under Josh McDaniels and everything, and any high-functioning offense I was around before, a really good offensive coordinator go, man, we can't be keeping extra guys in to block when it's a 4-man rush and doing all this. And they got 7. Like, we're never going to get anybody open.
It handcuffs your offense.
Right. We got to find a way to get our 5 on their 4, no matter what it is. And if that means more slide pass protection, maybe that's what it has to be, because they're kind of a man pass protect team too. Maybe this is a game where they should have gone, you know what? Let's slide everybody one way and just have our back off the edge. And, if that defense end drops back, you just can release. But at least we have everybody sliding, and we can block the four guys rushing now. So there's some things you can do there, but, it's tough. And how to dissect it and pass it all off is really going to take some work for Detroit to figure that out.
And they might maybe have to get Jamison Williams involved as a decoy more. If you start doing the motions and the fake jet sweeps and I know he had a better game in this game statistically.
Right. Yes.
But just the threat of him on the edges, it's just that's something that for the good John Morton has done in a brutal situation. Like being the guy after Ben Johnson, that's a terrible spot.
Right.
It feels like J-Mo is the one guy. It's like
he's being left in the dust.
Ben
here.
Johnson knew exactly what to do. With him
they have to find a few more ways to just game plan shots down the field for Jamison Williams.
Not with 2 minutes left.
Exactly right. It has to. That's where Ben Johnson did it. Ben Johnson had 3 or 4 plays every game where you're like, he's got a you reverse with Jamison Williams. He's got a you screen with him. He's got a double move for him, and then he has like 2 or 3 play actions where it's like you either cover him deep, or Amon-Ra St. Brown or Laporte are going to be wide open over the middle. Which one do you want to choose, right? That's where he was really good. That's not going on right now. That's, again, what I was trying to say early on. This offense is really good, but is it as creative and as game planning as it once was? No. And I bet you Brian Flores, that's where he felt more comfortable about doing some crazy stuff, because he's like, there's a lot to worry about with Detroit, but not as much to worry about as there used to be, and I can take some calculated risk like we've talked about time after time after time.
Yeah, this was a masterclass from Flores. I want to go inside the notebook here, Chris, because this was really like the thesis here. Anytime they think this might be a pass, 2 out of 3 plays, someone is blitzing up the middle.
Right.
And then with Jahmyr Gibbs, he can't block blitzers, getting overpowered. And teams are going to try.
The teams are going to try him from now on.
Like you got to.
They're going to try
test him if he's on the field.
They're going to go. Wait, one of the best ways to take Jahmyr Gibbs out of the passing
run
game
as hard as he can at him
is blitz him and make him block, and let's see what happens there. I think that's the thing. Right, so that's and then they did try to pivot to David Montgomery a little bit, who of course is better in those situations. But the problem is like, no, this time they didn't blitz anybody, and now he's looking, and man, Jahmyr Gibbs on the check down would have been really effective on this play, right? So they got stuck in between as far as what to do there. Now they did a great job of what I would love you to look up. How much did they play man coverage, right, in the football game? I feel like maybe when they all-out blitz, they play man. Other than that, I don't feel like they played man very much at all, right? So that was one really big thing for them, right? And then,
not much.
Not much.
So you're right. They ran cover 0 8 times.
Right.
And that's their all-out blitzes.
Yep.
They ran cover 1 6 times, but then it was all cover 2, cover 3, quarters, and a lot of cover 6.
A lot of cover
16% of the time they ran cover 6.
Yeah, right.
So which is like Flores will.
Yeah, Flores will do that
Yeah.
for sure. If there's combinations he doesn't like,
Right.
right? There's certain things there. Cover 6, it's like, hey, wait, the strong side safety and cover 6 can get involved in the run game a little bit, right? We're protecting probably for Jameson Williams on the outside, on the other side with a
Right.
cover 2 safety to
Have
kind of
like
get
the
over
cloud
that,
coverage
right?
or something
And then they
like that.
probably read it a little bit to where like it helps when you play that coverage with deep crossers and stuff like that. And I think that's probably why they lived in cover 6 a little bit there. But yeah, they didn't give them many chances to throw deep shots down the football field. And then what's happened is then they flustered Goff a little bit with the pressures and getting him off the spot. And, hey, he still made some great throws. And, man, did they make some 3rd and 4th down conversions where you're like, Minnesota's got him. They called the perfect defense. Oh, my God, he broke a tackle. Goff still made the throw, whatever. I mean, they still make some damn plays that way, which is incredible. But what the pressure did, especially early on, it sped up Goff for the rest of the game a little bit. There was plays where you go, wait, there's nobody there. And he was kind of moving around in the pocket like he had to move, like somebody was there. And I was like, no, they just rushed their normal 4. They're playing Tampa 2. Like, you didn't need to move and get off or he felt somebody maybe blitz off the edge, and it's like he was blocked, and now he rolled out to the right. And it was like, you were good. You didn't have to.
Yep.
But that's, again, what early pressure can do to a quarterback's mental clock, and that's where Brian Flores knew that as well. Yo, thanks for watching, homies. We are now in the NFL season here on Chris Simms Unbuttoned.
Hit subscribe to get our weekly picks, game recaps, film deep dives, and much, much more.
Thanks again for watching. Subscribe, rate, review. Peace out. You know where to find us.